Hello, everyone. Okay, I have a long story to tell you, and I'm going to be very long-winded about it because I want to tell you everything that happened. So this video probably won't be of interest to many of you, but there will probably be a few of you who are curious as to what ended up happening. So a few days ago, I did post a video asking for some help from you folks because I was having problems running F-15 Strike Eagle 2. I think most of you watching this video probably saw that video. And I did get many suggestions from you folks, and thank you very much. Your suggestions helped me indirectly. Nobody actually guessed the problem, and I don't think anybody would because it's a problem which nobody would guess in a million years. But your suggestions did help me indirectly in a couple of ways. First of all, somebody posted a link to a copy of the game which I did try. That's this copy which I'm going to run now. It's a newer version than the one I had before. And among other things, it has Roland sound support, which is nice because that's something I didn't have in the copy of the game that I had before. So thank you, I got a new version of the game. But the new version of the game didn't fix the problem. I still had the same problem. So what ended up happening was, because of all your suggestions and because I was trying different things, I noticed that the game worked sometimes. I would say probably about one time in 20. Which is like 5% of the time. So let's say maybe about 5% of the time it would work. I wouldn't have this problem. So that was the first, kind of the first clue that I got, because I was thinking, okay, there's something going on that's making it crash 95% of the time. Probably something simple that I'm just not thinking of. People suggested that my copy of the game was probably glitched or something like that, and that's why somebody posted a link to a downloadable version of the game. But I tested the game on 4 different computers. I had the same problem on every one of them. I even tried it on a website. There's a website called classicreload.com. I didn't get paid to advertise or anything like that, but just I went looking online to see if, because archive.org has that collection of DOS games that you can play in a browser, but archive.org doesn't seem to have this game, but classicreload.com does. So I went there and tried playing the game there. I had the same problem. And at this point, I'm really freaking out because nobody else confirmed that they had this problem. Everybody else said it works fine for me. And it was kind of like, one of those horror movie moments where it's just like, what is going on? Like, how do I see this thing that, like I see dead people. How am I seeing this thing that nobody else sees? Am I going crazy or am I cursed or like, what is wrong with me? I went through a lot of red herrings. A lot of people suggested maybe it's a problem with my, not a lot of people. One person suggested it's a problem with my keyboard. That was actually plausible because I am playing with a German keyboard. And it's true that if you run this game, let me go ahead and actually run the game real quick. No joystick, I'll choose 256 color, and I'll just say ad-lib sound, why not? So let me go ahead and create a new pilot here. And I'll choose whatever, I don't know, pilot, and I don't know, Middle East. So yeah, so we're here now, and I think my German keyboard layout is still loaded, so yeah, it is. So I actually don't have a way to take off because the plus key, which you would normally use to throttle up, is not working, and the actual plus key on the German keyboard also doesn't seem to be working. And you can't use the plus key on the numeric keypad because it does this. It makes your plane turn to the right. So yeah, the German keyboard has a problem with this game. You need to change the keyboard to the US keyboard layout in DOSBox before running the game, and you can just do that with the command keybus. KEYB space US. That'll fix this problem. But that wasn't the problem I was having because you can see the game runs. Like I can turn my plane around, I can rotate it, I can yaw it around like this, and the other planes are flying around and the sounds work and everything works. It's just my keyboard layout is wrong. So thanks for that suggestion. No, that wasn't the problem. That is a problem, but that wasn't the problem I was having. It's also not a problem with the digitized audio. Now, what was happening was the game was crashing as soon as we got into this actual simulation portion. And as you might have heard, or as you probably know, when the game starts, it plays a little digitized audio clip that says, "Strike Eagle cleared for takeoff." Now, that was plausible that was causing the problem. Maybe it had a problem with playing digitized audio because that does weird things with the timer, like with the PIT, the programmable interrupt timer. which is used to, among other things, to play sound effects on the PC speaker. But when the game did work, like I said, the game worked maybe like 5% of the time. And when the game did work, there's one other point in the game where it plays digitized sound, and that's when you blow up one of your targets. So in each mission, you have two targets, a primary target and a secondary target. And if you successfully destroy either of those targets, it plays a digitized voice that says, usually it either says, good hit or nice shot. And that would work every time. Whenever I blew up a target, it would play that sound effect without problems. So that worked so consistently that I found it hard to believe that it was a problem with the Strike Eagle cleared for takeoff, because it, as far as I know, it's probably using the same technique to play those sounds, right? And indeed, it's not a problem with the digitized audio. So I thought also that it might have something to do with the, let me quit the game here for a second and show you something else, because some of you might not know this. If you choose rookie difficulty here, I actually never knew this because I guess I never chose rookie. If you choose rookie and then choose whatever for a theater, and then after your mission briefing here, see this? You actually start in midair. You actually start already airborne. So if you choose rookie difficulty, the easiest difficulty, you don't have to take off. I never knew that. And the first time that I got it to work, I guess I happened to choose rookie and ended up in the air like this. And so that strengthened in my mind the idea that it's probably something to do with the Strike Eagle clear for takeoff audio, because it doesn't play that obviously because you're already you're not cleared for takeoff. You have already taken off, so you're already in the air here as I am now. So for a while I was kind of struggling with this idea that it must be something to do with that, right? Because it fits together. Like it fits that. It's oh, people are shooting missiles at me already. Oh, I got hit. I'm sorry. Anyway, okay, let me quit for a second. So. Yeah, I thought it might have something to do with that, but no, after more testing I found out it does work sometimes also on other difficulty settings where you start off on the ground or on an aircraft carrier, as was the case as you just saw. So I mean that also worked, again, like maybe something like 5% of the time. So it wasn't anything to do with that. And in fact, if we run this again, it's not anything to do with any of these options here. Doesn't matter whether you choose a joystick or not. It does not depend on what graphics mode you choose. I tried it with all different graphics modes, except for Hercules, because I don't think DOSBox emulates Hercules, or at least I couldn't get it to work. But I tried all the other ones. It worked fine, or it would work sometimes. Most of the time it wouldn't, but I got it to work on all these graphics modes. Same with the sound. I got it to work on every sound mode, all the way from IBM sound to no sound. And it also doesn't seem to matter what pilot you choose. You can create several pilots, pick different pilots. It does not depend on the difficulty setting. Like I said, I thought maybe, choosing rookie might help because it starts you off in the air, but it doesn't matter. You can choose any difficulty setting. Does not depend on a particular theater of operations. You can choose any of these theaters. It does not affect the problem. I confirmed it works sometimes with each of the theaters. What I finally realized, the thing that kind of really got me onto figuring out what the problem was, I noticed that when the game does work, it keeps working. So if we go through this and get a mission briefing and then end up here. Oh yeah, this version of the game has night missions as well, which look really cool. I love the purple gradient of this. That looks so awesome. This is actually something I've never seen in this game before, because until I downloaded this version, because the version I had didn't have night missions. So again, thank you. Purple is actually my favorite color. And I love the purple gradient that you get on night missions in this version of the game. It's so beautiful. I love that. Wow. Anyway, sorry. And that FLIR effect that you get with the tracking camera there, that's also really cool. That's pretty awesome. Anyway, yeah. So I noticed that if the game works, like if you can successfully get here into the cockpit without the game crashing, it would work every time. Like I flew 3 missions in a row and it worked flawlessly every time. So it seemed like if it could work once, then it would keep working. That got me thinking that maybe it's not something to do with this part here. My natural assumption was that it's something to do with the part of the game where it's loading the cockpit screen, like where it's loading the actual simulation, right? Because that's where it would crash. And so I thought that that's where the problem was. But if it was working, then it would work every single time. This part would work every time. And that led me to think maybe it's something before this. It seems like it happens on program startup, not when you're starting the simulation, but when you're actually running the F-15.com program, because that's, it seems like the problem surfaces before you actually end up in the cockpit. That was the clue that eventually got me to a resolution. What I figured out the problem is, after a lot of experimenting in the part before the simulation, I figured out the problem is not any of these settings. Like I said, you can choose any graphics mode, it will work. Except maybe Hercules, and Tandy probably won't work if you're not emulating a Tandy in DOSBox, then it'll probably crash. But if you choose a Tandy machine in DOSBox, it works fine. It is not dependent on the graphics mode. None of the menu options that you can choose here will influence the problem. Let me choose no sound here just for a second. The problem is not this screen, but not this screen either, but wait for it, this screen. See at the bottom where it says press a key to continue? Well, it doesn't mean press any key to continue. I'm guessing what most of you were doing, and the reason why none of you had this problem, was because you were pressing probably enter here. Okay, you don't have to press enter, you can press spacebar, that will work as well. Or you can press, I think it seems to work with any letter or number on the keyboard, that will work fine. But the problem that I had, the reason why I was creating a problem for myself was, on this screen here, I would press an arrow key. And the reason I would do that, let me do that now. I'll press an arrow key. And the reason I would do that was because in anticipation of having this screen here, I was anticipating having to possibly, use the arrow keys to choose between different pilots. And so on that title screen, I would press an arrow key. I would have my fingers already prepared on the arrow cursor keys to move here, and so I'd press one of the arrow keys to get past the title screen. Now everything here looks fine. You don't notice any difference. You can choose your pilot as usual. You can choose your difficulty as usual. I'll choose veteran, whatever, and choose a theater. Let's say Vietnam, whatever. It doesn't matter. And here you get your mission. Everything looks fine, just like usual. But as soon as you get into the cockpit like this, it crashes just like this. If you press an arrow key on the title screen, where it usually plays the music, and you see that picture of the F-15 flying towards you, or at least facing towards you, the game will crash like this every time. Why did I never have this problem before? I'm guessing that I never pressed an arrow key there before. Just somehow, it seems like a habit that I just got into recently. Because I've been playing this game for more than 20 years, and I don't remember ever seeing this problem before. And just somehow I got into the habit of doing that, and I was doing it so consistently that I did it almost every time, and thereby crashed the game every single time. On different computers and even on different emulators and things like that. And those of you who are still feeling experimental, if you want to try it for yourself and kind of prove that I'm not crazy, that I'm not lying to you, you're welcome to try it for yourself. I'm going to guess you have the same problems, because this appears to be just a problem in the game. Why does this happen? I have no idea. But I'm happy that I finally figured this out for a couple of reasons. Obviously, because it means I can play the game again. Which, I mean, it's a nice game. I like this game. So it's nice that I can figure out how to finally play the game again. And secondly, I think it's kind of one of those moments where it just kind of drives home the message that it can be anything. And it's often something that you would least suspect. I mean, I and many of you suspected, okay, maybe it's a problem with the sound. Maybe the copy of the game is somehow glitched. We thought about maybe it's keyboard problems. Who knows what. But no. Pressing an arrow key on the game's title screen makes it crash, not right away, but later on when it actually loads the simulation. That's the moral of the story. I think that's it. Yeah, that's what happened. So thank you to everyone for your support, for your ideas and suggestions. Like I said, it didn't directly lead me to this solution, but it did kind of get me on the right track. And I also got a new version of the game with that awesome purple gradient sky at night. So that's really cool. So I'm actually really happy about how things turned out. I'm happy that I figured it out, and I'm happy that I can share the solution with you. Happy that we have this little life episode together. And yeah, that's I guess that's all. So I will go and enjoy F-15 Strike Eagle 2 some more. I encourage you folks to do the same if you like these kinds of games. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks again for your comments and suggestions and help. I will talk to you folks later. Bye-bye.